also known as Michael Holt. Mr. Terrific is one of the smartest characters in the DC Universe. He even went on to form his own team, the Terrifics, created by John Ostrander and Tom Mandrake. He remains an underrated character despite frequent appearances across New Earth story arcs. Known for his genius-level intellect, he's often described as the third smartest man on Earth. Today, we'll explore his origins and major story arcs in detail, and tell you everything there is to know about his powers and psychological capabilities. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. What is Mr. Terrific's origin story? Michael Holt was introduced as a child prodigy and a natural athlete. By the age of 6, he had already grasped complex theories of time and the space-time continuum. He studied the works of Einstein, Richard Feynman, Niels Bohr, and others, eventually earning multiple degrees and doctorates. His athleticism led him to become an Olympic decathlete, and he also rose to prominence as a self-made billionaire. Despite his many successes, Michael considered his wedding day the happiest day of his life. He was deeply in love with his wife Paula, who gave him a renewed sense of purpose. However, tragedy struck when Paula, who was pregnant at the time, died in a car accident. Devastated and on the brink of suicide, Michael was visited by the Spectra, the spirit of divine vengeance, who told him about Terry Sloan, the Golden Age's Mr. Terrific. Realizing the parallels between them, Michael chose to honor Sloan's legacy by taking on the mantle of Mr. Terrific, channeling his grief and anger into making the world a better place. Who created Mr. Terrific? Michael Holt. And why? Michael Holt was created to carry on the legacy of Terry Sloan, the original Mr. Terrific. He first appeared in a standalone issue of the Spectra, written by John Ostrander and illustrated by Tom Mandrake. In the story, Jim Corrigan convinces Holt to become the new Mr. Terrific. Though introduced as a successor, Holt quickly won over readers and developed a strong fan following of his own. How was Mr. Terrific first introduced in DC Comics? Mr. Terrific was first introduced as a grounded street-level hero in the Spectre. This served as his formal introduction into the New Earth continuity, post-Crisis on Infinite Earths. While he wore a standard costume, Holt relied heavily on his intellect, agility, and strategic thinking to fight crime, faithfully following in the footsteps of his predecessor, Terry Sloan. How did Mr. Terrific change in the JSA era? Over time, David Goyer and Jeff Johns worked on developing his character to make him a much more substantial presence in the JSA. They reworked his original concept designs and introduced him with a metahuman ability to turn invisible to technology and use his signature T-spheres. While he was initially supposed to be a street hero, his technological inventions developed his character into one of the smartest scientific minds in the world of superheroes. His technological inventions developed his character into one of the smartest scientific minds in the world of superheroes. Fans greatly praised these changes and even pointed out how refreshing it was to see a black superhero break through the typical molds of being involved in street crime and gang troubles. Over time, Mr. Terrific not only became the chairman of the JSA, but also assumed the position of the White King of Checkmate. What changed for Mr. Terrific after Flashpoint? After DC revamped the entire fictional universe following the events of Flashpoint, Mr. Terrific was one of the many characters who were all set to star in a self-titled series. However, this also came with the erasure of his entire history with the Justice Society of America, and his origins had to be almost entirely revamped. Even though the writers retained his initial origins, including his wife's tragic death, they altered his storylines from the point where he assumed a new identity as Mr. Terrific. Instead of Spectre convincing him to pick up his mantle, Michael Holt was a solo superhero and a billionaire CEO who learned that his unborn child was a genius in one of the alternate universes. This version then somehow came across him and inspired him to become Mr. Terrific. He first introduced himself when he went after a group of international terrorists known as the Prodigy. At this time, Lincoln's Blackhawks were fighting against the Prodigy, and Mr. Terrific's appearance with his T-spheres briefly put him at odds with Lincoln. Moreover, Lincoln believed that all technological inventions must be controlled by the government, but Michael had other troubles when he discovered that Karen Starr had broken into his industry's computers to create a quantum tunnel. While he ordered his guards to stop Karen Starr, he decided to jump into the quantum tunnel to head to Earth 2, and we learned that this was not his first rodeo. In fact, he had jumped through the tunnel in the past and believed it to be a rift, but he had also seen glimpses of future events. While he saw his future interactions with Lincoln, him joining Earth 2's JLA, his battle with Power Girl, and his eventual death at the hands of Earth's Mr. Terrific. A power surge knocked him out of this rift, and he soon came back to his senses with no recollection of these flashes. His T-Sphere's logs had also been wiped clean, and he soon encountered Earth 2's Terry Sloan and realized that he had come across him as his younger self from an alternate universe. In a turn of events, Sloan would manipulate events when Holt would travel there later, and Mr. Terrific led quite a chaotic story arc before eventually returning to Earth Zero to help Superman defeat Vandal Savage in a fight above Metropolis. What happened in 1 year later, and checkmate. After the United Nations restructured Checkmate, Mr. Terrific was appointed as the White Bishop by the current White King, Alan Scott. Even though he acted as his chief advisor for the longest time, Mr. Terrific was also distracted by the Black Queen of Checkmate, Sasha Bordeaux. To make things worse, their secret relationship became even more inappropriate when Alan Scott was removed from his position and Mr. Terrific was appointed as the next White King. In his capacity as the White King, Mr. Terrific appointed an AI called the Thinker to serve as his White Bishop and even selected Tommy Jagger to be the White Knight. Moreover, Amanda Waller started blackmailing Bordeaux over her relationship with Mr. Terrific and even threatened to expose the truth if she did not resign and appoint her as the Black Queen instead. Around this time, Mr. Terrific worked in cahoots with Bordeaux and the Black King, Talib Khalid, to corner Amanda and even force her to resign from Checkmate. How did Mr. Terrific resist Darkseid in Final Crisis? After Darkseid took control over Earth, Mr. Terrific was one of the few people who had saved themselves from the anti-life equation by sealing himself in a bunker with some other Checkmate personnel. They were trying to form a resistance against Darkseid, and Mr. Terrific also had to witness Sasha Bordeaux use her OMAC circuitry to shut herself down instead of succumbing to the anti-life equation. At this point, Mr. Terrific felt cornered, and he risked Sasha's life by reviving her to gain access to the OMAC protocols. He then used this information to activate OMACs all over the world and form an army that could fight against Darkseid. What was his role in JSA versus Cobra? After Cobra attempted to assassinate him, Mr. Terrific actively clashed with Jason Burr, Cobra's new leader. This conflict tested Mr. Terrific's bonds with Checkmate, as well as the Justice Society of America, and even led to some tension with Power Girl, even though he'd been leading both these organizations at once for quite some time. Power Girl soon succeeded him as the Justice Society's chairperson. As they redirected their focus towards Jason Burr, fans realized that their fight was also about Mr. Terrific's faith in science and technology as opposed to Burr's extremist religious views. Eventually, Mr. Terrific managed to prevent President Suarez's assassination and eliminated most of Burr's team after the latter assassinated the United Nations Secretary General. While Mr. Terrific viewed this to be a bittersweet victory, he soon felt better after learning that Sasha Bordeaux had finally woken up from her coma. What is Mr. Terrific's true intelligence level in DC Comics? In a particular conversation with Batman in DC Comics, Mr. Terrific reveals that he has an IQ of 179 while they discuss the best way to tackle an incoming crisis. This conversation establishes him as the third smartest man in the DC universe, after Lex Luthor and Batman, whose IQs are 225 and 192, respectively. Considering the fact that Mr. Terrific's superpower lies in his athletic nature and intelligence, his IQ is concrete proof of his intellectual prowess, and it provides some explanation for his witty nature and worldly success. Is Mr. Terrific smarter than Iron Man? While Mr. Terrific is blessed with intelligence and an innate ability to comprehend anything he reads, fans have often argued that he is not as adaptive and creative as Iron Man. However, he has managed to regain his intelligence, even after losing it, through hard work and reading, and he later became a neurosurgeon by studying the subject. On the other hand, Tony Stark displayed his intelligence when he found a way to make the Maya Hansen Extremis virus work for him, or when he developed the Iron Man armor on his own. One can argue that both these characters are intelligent in their own ways, and it would be an insult to their creativity and knowledge to measure their capabilities in comparison to each other. How powerful is he compared to Superman? While Mr. Terrific has often been compared to other superheroes in terms of intellect, fans have also wondered where he stands when it comes to physical prowess. Along the same lines, questions have been raised regarding his strength in comparison to the Man of Steel, who's known for his superhuman strength, speed, flight, and heat vision. However, Superman's strength is on a whole different level compared to Mr. Terrific. who mostly relies on technology and intelligence to defeat his opponents. Mr. Terrific cannot withstand supernatural forces in the same way that Superman can, and he typically relies on his gadgets to emerge victorious in any face-off. It's safe to say that Superman is far more powerful and indestructible than Mr. Terrific, who would pale in comparison if they were ever to engage in direct confrontation. What are Mr. Terrific's powers and abilities? For starters, Mr. Terrific is known for his genius-level intellect, and he was also described as someone with a natural aptitude for natural aptitudes. This essentially means that he can pick up any skill or knowledge and master it in no time, and he himself stated that his talent is learning. Mr. Terrific also has an eidetic memory that helps him remember and recall anything he has ever read. He holds 14 PhDs and has specializations in numerous fields, ranging from law and psychology to more technical subjects, such as computer science and electrical engineering. Holt is also known for being a master tactician who once played chess against 2 opponents with his eyes shut. Moreover, he successfully founded Holt Corp, and grew it into a billionaire business, which further proves his strategic vision and business management skills. Among other things, he's also an Olympic gold medalist in the decathlon and can speak several languages, including the language of the nation of Kondak. Holt's physique is at the pinnacle of human conditioning, and he possesses enhanced strength, agility, reflexes, and endurance. His highly developed musculature generates far fewer fatigue toxins compared to regular humans, enabling him to keep fighting for prolonged periods of time. He once fought the Tomorrow Thief in Arctic temperatures with 2 broken ribs and holds a black belt in at least 6 martial arts forms. What advanced tech does Mr. Terrific use? To begin with, Mr. Terrific is known for his T-spheres, which can best be described as floating robotic spheres, capable of creating laser grids and projecting holographic images. These spheres also double as cameras, linked to outside networks to enable flight, generate electrical charges, act as projectile weapons, and even self-destruct in dire situations. Mr. Terrific can operate them through mental and vocal commands. He also wears a specially designed T-mask that renders him invisible to any kind of electronic detection. This mask is molecularly bonded to his face, protects him from chemicals, and plays a role in relaying mental commands to his T-spheres. The mask also works with an earpiece to act as a communication system and equips him with the ability to instantaneously change into his costume. Holt's mask functions as an encephalic broadcaster that can detect aggregate thought waves and enable him to communicate with his T-spheres or conjure holograms of himself. Marvelous verdict. And with that, we've explored Mr. Terrific's origins and appearances across the DC universe, right from his original story arc to his revamped origins after the events of Flashpoint. While he was created to continue Terry Sloan's legacy, there's no doubt that Michael Holt garnered quite a fan following as the new age Mr. Terrific. We hope you enjoyed exploring his character and powers with us, and we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, and be safe. Thanks, everyone.